Saturday.
Saturday.
We arrived at the lake about 10 in the morning. Julian had driven down over an hour to pick us up before driving to Carl's house. Carl wasn't ready when we got there, and when he answered the door, his eyes were bleary and red. It took him a good 20 minutes to get ready, and all the while I struggled to not glare at him. It's weird. We've been friends with the Ram for almost my entire life, and it's only now that I'm feeling real disgust for the person that he is. So many self-created problems. He keeps his head down most of the time, so he doesn't see me. He's still feeling sick, too, so he opts to ride in the truck bed on the way down, and Jenna sits with him. I can't help but wonder what might happen if we have an accident. TJ sits next to me, and this time I'm sure to sit in the middle so that Julian is on my left and TJ's on my right. Feels better this way. As the lake comes into view, I rest a paw on TJ's knee. He glances at me, then nods in acknowledgement. I give his thigh a squeeze, then wait as we pull into the parking lot, going over the scenarios in my head for what might happen.
Well, here we are.
We don't say anything in response as we quietly get out of the truck. Jenna jumps out of the truck bed easily, but Carl struggles, and I imagine him falling straight out and face-planting into the asphalt. Jenna helps him, though, and then we're all walking down the trail towards the lake, single file. I walk right behind TJ, though, so I can keep an eye on him and anyone else that might try to fuck with him. Oh, it's been 12 years since I've been down here. Yeah. There's a cool freshness to the air by the lake. I breathe it in. Get hit with the sweet memories of spending entire days down here. Swimming in the lake, building sandcastles, poking at dead fish on the beach is wonderful. Especially poking dead fish.
That
As we
fish
start
poking is
walking
fun.
on the As we start walking on the beach and approach the big boulder, I feel my heart start to hammer in my chest. I pick up the speed to catch up to TJ. How are you feeling?
I'm okay.
You don't sound okay.
I'm nervous.
We all are. I actually feel like I'm going to throw up. TJ suddenly reaches out his paw and holds mine. I'm surprised. TJ's never done this before, and though I know it's probably due to the situation we're in, it still makes me feel warm inside.
It's going to be okay. I know it. This is going to be the end.
TJ's voice breaks up on the last word. The end? The end of what exactly? TJ's guilt over Sydney? The mystery over what exactly happened to him? Of the world as we know it? Yeah, that's probably it. Because I know that after this morning, things are never going to be the same again. I just remember that if it's buried by that boulder, it's probably gone now. I know I've said this every time before, but the lake has flooded a few times since. I look up at the steep rocky bank on our right. Remember that spring when it went all the way up to the road?
Yeah.
I look back at our friends. Jenna's walking side by side with Carl, talking to him in a low voice. Julian is ahead of them, and he's looking directly at me. I look away. I'm just saying that even if it's there, it's probably water damaged to the point that we won't be able to read it. TJ stays silent as we come up on the rock, sitting there on the beach like it has since I can remember. Probably like it has since before the lake was even created. TJ still holds my paw as Julian, Jenna, and Carl stand next to us, the five of us in a sort of semicircle around the boulder.
Well, here we are.
Julian says the exact same thing he said in the parking lot, and I feel myself starting to get annoyed. But I cling to TJ's paw, and that calms me down a little. So, if it's still here, it could be anywhere. Knowing Sydney, Jenny's about to say Jenny.
Ginny.
Jenna says his. Hello, Jenny. Jenny.
Run, Forrest, run.
We are all Forrest Gump.
That's Julian's new voice. Well, here we are.
Mama always said life was like a box of chocolate. We are hardcore dating ourselves right now. Next, we're gonna need to go buy a fishing boat. Find a guy who lost his legs in the war.
Oh, Dan. Oh, Dan.
Lieutenant Dan. Jenna says his name carefully. He'd probably leave a marker of some sort. This could be hard to find.
Remember that he said it's by Carl's drawing. It'd probably be right next to that. I don't know, guys. The other ones were inside of something. This is just out on a beach. The sand's changing all the time.
Carl digs at the damp sand with a hoof, his paws shoved in his pockets, eyes downcast. Everything okay, Carl? I say it sharply. Everything okay, Carl? I say it sharply, not bothering to filter out the annoyance in my voice. He looks up at me, a bit surprised.
Huh? Yeah, I'm okay. I just feel sicker from the ride down.
Smoke too much? Carl frowns.
No, I just get sick sometimes when I'm stressed out. Weed makes me feel less sick, actually.
Actually.
Actually, Dick.
I stop myself from asking what it is he's so stressed out about.
Are you okay, Chase? Need a joint? Pull the
I'm good.
fuck off.
I shouldn't be drawing attention to myself right now. Meanwhile, Julian is walking around the boulder looking for the drawing.
Well, here we are. This again.
God damn it, Julian.
He just says one thing. So it's a one sentence. What's it? What is his animal again? What is he? A deer?
A deer, I think.
He's a one sentence deer from now on.
Yeah, I know. He brings us our food. Here we are.
Well, here we are. He wakes up in the morning. Well, here we are.
TJ asks them, Julian, are we going to be there anytime soon? Well, here we are.
Well, here we are.
TJ lets go of my paw finally and starts to walk around the boulder from the other side. Almost immediately, he points excitedly.
Oh, Carl, you're drawing!
Carl sidles up to him before chuckling quietly.
Oh, yeah. For some reason, I thought it'd be gone by now.
Why would it be? You chipped it into the rock. Didn't you spend like a month doing that? Carl looks down at his paws.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucked up my paws doing it, too.
I move around to stand next to them and see the rough outline of a muscular wolf with a long cape. Super Wolf. Carl had been obsessed with that superhero since the new movie was coming out that summer. I don't think he liked it very much because right after he saw it, he stopped working on the etching. It's actually pretty good, especially when you consider that Carl was like 9 when he did it. I pushed those memories out of my head, wiping out the smiling childhood face of Carl from my mind. Then I steel myself, preparing for what I'm going to say and what's about to happen. Hey, look at the sand underneath it. Everyone looks down in unison at where I'm pointing my finger. I let it sink in for a moment before I say it. The dirt. It looks like someone dug it up recently. No one says anything. Or maybe the sand's just wetter there? I don't know. TJ kneels down next to the boulder, reaching out a paw to steady himself against it as Julian kneels down from across from him. He reaches out with the other paw, poking at the sand, poking at the loose looking dirt, slightly darker than the sand around it. Still, no one says anything, and I decide to not push it further, knowing that I've already planted a seed of doubt in TJ's mind. We should have grabbed a garden shovel from your house, Carl.
Yeah.
I pick up the flat rock I used last night. Here, I hand it to Julian. He looks at it for a second before digging the sharp end into the dirt. It sinks in deep and easily before the stag turns out the sand. Less than a minute later, TJ gasps and reaches into the shallow hole, pulling out the lunchbox. Now that there's daylight, I can see the chipped green paint on the dragon. TJ holds it for a moment, staring down at it. Julian looks around at us.
Well, here. No, I'm just kidding. Was that Sydney's?
Well, here we are.
Well, here we are.
Dude, that would be a hilarious running gag.
Yeah, that would be. Along with jaundice.
Yeah. I can't remember, but TJ nods with shaky hands, unlatches the metal clasps. Carl stands further back than the rest of us, motionless. Jenna once again has her paws up to her mouth, not saying anything. TJ opens the lid. The hinges squeak a little as the tin lid flops open, revealing my note. Paws still shaking, TJ reaches in. At this point, there's little hesitation in TJ's movements. He's eager to find out what it says, eager to get this done. TJ unfolds the note, then reads it. He doesn't read it aloud, instead letting his eyes go back and forth over the page while the rest of us wait. I know at this point that he's finished reading it, but he still doesn't say anything, eyes glued to the page. TJ? TJ doesn't say anything, continuing to stare. TJ, what does it say? TJ sits there for a few more seconds before he wordlessly holds out the note to no one in particular. His face is blank for the most part, but I can see the shock in his eyes. Julian takes it from him and starts reading.
You've reached the end, but I don't have the answer, so I'll ask again. TJ, what happened to Sydney?
The silence that follows is one of the heaviest that I've ever experienced. Carl's still frozen, but now he's looking up at Julian. Jenna's moved her paw from her mouth at this point, but she's clutching her necklace, her eyes on TJ. Julian is just staring at the links, waiting, probably unsure what any of this means. TJ, meanwhile, stares at the hole we dug up, his paws laying limp in his lap, ears drooping. I start walking over to him.
Well, here, no, I'm just kidding. What does it mean? Do you guys know?
I rest a paw on TJ's shoulder, touching it softly. He doesn't move, so I crouch down next to him, slowly wrapping an arm around his shoulders, drawing him in. I can feel him trembling.
Guys?
I look over at Julian with a sad look on my face. We have a friend. We have a friend who has a grudge about this whole thing. I think he might have been the one leaving the notes. TJ shakes his head against me, but doesn't say anything. Julian stares.
But why?
I shrug, beginning to stroke the top of TJ's head. TJ looks from me to TJ. Julian, TJ looks from me to himself. Julian looks.
He is the headless kitty cat.
Uh-huh. He's a Dullahan. He could just take his head off and look at himself.
Makes Shakespeare really easy to do.
I know, right? To live, to be, or not to be.
To drown or not to drown? That is the question.
I mean, Dullahans are undead, so he could just drown himself and then just walk out. Was that good, guys? Julian looks from me to TJ. I don't know. Maybe he thought that this was his last chance to hurt TJ somehow. I really don't know. Jenna and Carl have walked up to stand next to us, and both seem to be at a loss for words.
The paper is different, though.
TJ's voice is distant and faint, muffled against my chest. There are ways to make paper look old. Maybe he just didn't have the time with this one. Julian shakes his head.
Listen, I know I've only been a part of this for a day, but this is crazy. And those are a lot of assumptions. Do you really know what happened?
If you knew this friend of ours like we do, you'd understand how obvious this is. But Jenna shakes her head as well. No. Flynn wouldn't do this. He's a jerk, but he wouldn't do this. You know what Flynn's been sending. You know that Flynn's been sending TJ threatening texts all week, and that he's been out to fuck with TJ since we got here. Jenna shakes her head again, but doesn't say anything.
He wouldn't.
I snap my gaze at Carl, glaring.
Dude, even at his worst, he'd never do something like this. It's too fucked up. All of that work just to fuck with us? And it has to do with Sydney? No.
And who found the first note? Who's been Flynn's best friend since we all left?
Whoa! Chase!
Carl's eyes go wide. TJ finally lifts his head, looking up at Carl. You're the one who gave it to us, set us off on this whole bullshit scavenger hunt. Carl takes a step back, mouth hanging open, looking at me like I'm some sort of alien or something. This entire thing was fucking crazy from the start. Our dead friend who left notes behind a decade ago, and somehow it's all still here? In the old school? In that house? Fuck that. Chase, stop it. Jenna's voice is soft and distant, lacking any sort of authority. I stand up suddenly, staring the ram down.
What? Oh, no!
Carl takes another step back, and I can see his chest heaving. He can't even get his words out now. It's like he's just run a marathon and can't catch his breath. Huh?
I don't. I don't. I don't.
Carl clutches his chest, and I can't help but notice how fucking guilty he looks right now. He suddenly retches and gags loudly. Carl, breathe. No. Can't use your fucking anxiety. I make air quotes. You monster. As a shield right now. Did Flynn put you up to this? Carl retches again and doubles over, spitting on the ground. Carl? Jenna starts walking towards the ram, but at that moment, something rushes past me, then past Jenna. I have a moment. I have a moment to see TJ's back. His tufted ears are laid flat against his head, like he's moved so fast that the wind has pushed them back. There's another quick movement that I can't quite see from my angle, but then Carl stumbling back, a paw to his face, letting out a gasp like he'd been holding his breath for 10 minutes. I lunge forward, reaching out for TJ as the cat goes in for another swipe. Carl jumps back towards the embankment, and as he does, he lands on the many rocks that separate the beach from the road. I grab the back of TJ's shirt just as I see Carl's hoof disappear between the rocks. Then Carl falls back. There's a sound like a thick branch snapping in two, cutting through the air like a gunshot. Immediately, Carl lets out the most hideous scream I've ever heard the ram make. No! Jenna runs past us, followed by Julian at a more even jog. Meanwhile, I hold on to TJ, the lynx still going after Carl, making a yowling sound as his claws swipe at the air, baring his teeth. He's wild, feral, not thinking at all. TJ! TJ, stop! I'm here! I'm here! I tried talking into the lynx's ear and at the same time feeling him starting to go limp in my grasp, the energy and the rage slowly going out of him. I finally feel safe enough to turn him around, pulling him in for a hug. It's okay. You got him. You're fine. TJ looks towards Carl one last time, watching the ram rolling back and forth on his back, choking, howling, and screaming all at once.
Oh my god. Oh my god!
TJ turns his face into my chest and starts to cry.
Jesus, his ankle!
Carl, can you move? Can. But Carl isn't listening, continuing to scream and hyperventilate at the same time. Call an ambulance, but not for me. I don't know who she's talking to, but Julian pulls out his phone. Julian had a sex change, evidently, just immediately. TJ continues to sob into my chest, and I start to move away towards the trail, pulling TJ with me. I'm taking Tej back to the motel. Yes, leave, please. Jenna snarls at me over her shoulder.
Hi, we need paramedics. Yes, someone here tripped and broke his leg. Now he can't get up.
I've fallen.
And I can't get up.
What is that, life alert?
Right, yeah.
Carl, Carl, I know it hurts, but you need to breathe. I'm going to count. Jenna's voice fades away as I start fast walking towards the trail, pulling the sobbing TJ along with me. TJ finally pulls away from me when we reach the parking lot and starts walking ahead, hugging himself. I follow behind him at a close distance, listening to him sob for a while. It isn't until we reach the road that he's finally calmed down enough to stop sobbing. I walk quietly behind him for for a little bit longer before finally catching up, walking next to him. He doesn't say anything and goes on hugging himself, hiccuping softly every once in a while. I wonder if I should say anything, ask him about what happened, or even change the subject completely. Eventually, though, he's the one to speak first.
I I didn't mean to.
He cuts off as he goes into a coughing fit. I rub him gently on the back. It's okay. You don't have to explain yourself after what he did.
Do you think?
TJ takes a deep breath, finally steadying his words.
Do you think he really did that?
I let the silence drag out for a moment before finally replying. Who else could have it been? I completely understand why you went along with all those notes, but in the end, this was the only realistic conclusion that we were gonna get.
Yeah. Yeah. I just didn't think they'd do something like this. Especially Carl.
TJ says Carl's name softly.
I don't. I still don't know if he did it. But then I remembered what he said when we played Spin the Bottle. I felt like it had to be him. I was just so angry. I've never been so angry in my life. It was scary.
I mean, maybe Flynn didn't tell him everything about what was going on. I guess he could have been tricked into thinking Flynn somehow had good intentions in all of this. I don't know.
His leg.
TJ covers his face like he's about to start crying again. I quickly put my arm around him and hold him close. Hey, this isn't your fault. Honestly. He deserved that scratch you gave him. He fell on his own. TJ shakes his head.
I can't even remember what happened. I just started running at him. Like I wasn't in control. It was like it was all automatic or something.
Him, too. TJ. I stop the links and turn him towards me, even though he keeps covering his face. This is not your fault.
Well, now, what is that a reference to?
There's a a streamer who streams StarCraft 2. I think he's like Norwegian. I'll look him up just real quick. Why not? We'll just interrupt everything.
It wouldn't be the first interruption.
Yeah, I know, right? It's not Insim. It's not. It's Loco TV. Yeah, Loco TV. I'll put it in chat so people can see it.
Okay. Just post that. If I remember, I'll put it up on screen too.
There you go.
Hey. Oh, okay. Okay.
What Flynn and Carl did to you is absolutely and honestly is absolutely disgusting. And honestly, I'm amazed that you were able to hold yourself back as much as you did.
But the sounds he was making it sounded so awful.
TJ's face screws up under his paws. I hug him again. No, he only had a taste of the pain you're feeling on the inside. Now stop thinking about him. It's over. This whole thing is over. TJ starts crying softly again as I hold him closer, letting him get it out of his system. Over his shoulder I can see the ambulance lights flashing, though they don't have the siren on. I'm thankful for that at least. My phone buzzes in my pocket a few times, but I ignore it, waiting until the Lynx's soft sobbing tapers off. I turn him away from the lake so he doesn't see the lights, and we keep walking slowly up the road. Less than a mile away, the motel sign glints in the sunlight. TJ shuffles along, continuing his quiet snuffling. Did you want to leave today?
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, let's get back to the hotel and sit down for a while, okay? Then we can decide what we want to do.
Okay.
TJ's breathing evens out again as we get closer to the motel.
But why do you think Flynn would do that? It doesn't make any sense.
I shrug. Well, like I said yesterday, I think now that he knows he isn't going to get the answers he wants, he's just out to hurt us now. That's it, really.
You were right. I guess I just didn't think he could be capable of that.
I mean, you always see the best in people. There's nothing wrong with that. TJ doesn't respond, and we're silent the rest of the way there. The first thing TJ does when we get inside is lay on the bed and stare at the ceiling. I check my texts and see that they're all from Jenna. They say Carl just broke his ankle and that he's going to be fine. Julian is driving me, Jenna, to the hospital so he can sit with Carl and bring him back when they're done. By the way, when they asked Carl what happened, he said he just slipped on the rock and fell. He said that's where the scratch came from, too. I assume he doesn't want us to tell anyone about what happened. You should think about checking out early. I'm probably going to a friend's house in Peyton after this. I stare at the last text, wondering what exactly it means. She's going to a friend's house, and that's just it? Almost sounds like she's done with us. I guess one good thing came out of this then. Carl's gonna be fine. He told the paramedics he just slipped on a rock, so I don't think he's going to be like pressing charges or anything. TJ covers his face, and I hope he isn't about to cry again, but when he starts talking, his voice is steady and even.
I'm going to have to see him before we leave. I don't want to leave this town like this.
He sounds defeated, like he knows things are now ruined beyond any sort of repair. I suddenly feel a wave of compassion and love for the Lynx, the only purely good person in this shit town. I get up and drape myself over the bed next to TJ. He looks up in surprise, ears perked and twitching, his tufts waving around in the most adorable way. Listen, I know we can't just forget what happened back there, and I know we can't just fix everything, but I pause and wait until TJ looks up at me. I want to spend the rest of this weekend together and just have fun. There isn't really much else we can do. TJ looks back up at the ceiling.
But what about your project?
I laugh. Dude, it doesn't matter anymore. We'll just retake the class over the summer or something.
That doesn't sound good. I don't want to cause you to fail or.
You're not. I'm making this decision. TJ continues to stare at the ceiling, his eyes glistening with unshed tears.
I don't know. It doesn't feel right. I just broke Carl's leg.
Carl fell and broke his own leg, TJ.
No, I did it. Things are so messed up now.
His voice starts to go up high again, and I quickly put a paw on his shoulder. We can talk about that. We can't think about that anymore. It's over. I rub his shoulder comfortingly. You know what? Let's go to Baton. Get out of this crappy town and do something, okay? TJ lets out a shuddery sigh.
Maybe. I just need a minute.
Okay. I roll over and look out the window through the blinds, feeling like I've accomplished something. Things went a little further than I'd planned on, but it's working out for the best. My main issue now is figuring out what the hell Flynn and Carl were planning with of that bullshit, and what all they know. Assuming it had been them at all, but as of right now, I can't imagine anyone else it could have been. I feel a little guilty about what happened to Carl, but I had to show everyone how stupid and crazy this whole thing was. Just then, I see Flynn's truck roll into the parking lot. I tense up, staring in disbelief. What the hell reason would he have to come here? I'm only frozen up for a moment before I suddenly swing my legs off the bed. I don't know if TJ is looking. I hope not as I start closing the blinds. I'll close these so the sun isn't shining in your eyes, and I'm gonna make a call to Jenna to make sure things are going all right, okay? I look back and I'm relieved to see that TJ only now is looking over at me.
Okay. Tell her I'm sorry.
I will. I'll get some rest. I try not to look like I'm in a hurry as I go to the door and open it just wide enough for me to slide out. Flynn's truck pulls into the parking space about 20 feet away, and I jog over to him before he can get out. Hey, I say, just as he opens the door. He looks at me coldly for a moment before getting out and slamming the door shut.
Hey.
We stand there, awkwardly, for a full 10 seconds, but Flynn doesn't say anything. You need something?
Why do you think I'm here, Chase?
I shrug. I have no idea, Flynn. Flynn stares at me for a few more seconds as he chews at a toothpick in his mouth.
You were down by the lake.
That's a really weird thing to assume, Flynn. Flynn scoffs.
Don't play with me. I see ambulance lights over by the lake, and 10 minutes later I get a text from Carl telling me he's hurt his leg.
Really, Flynn? People go down to the lake all the time. Could have been anyone.
Nope. What? Goes down by the lake. I know you've been sneaking around the town doing shady shit with Teach and Jin.
I keep on a straight face, refusing to crack under Flynn's pressure.
The only reason why I didn't ask you what the fuck you were doing is because I know you all hate me right now. But if you really went down there together, that's fucked.
Why is that fucked, Flynn? Because you decided it's off limits for everyone else? Because it makes you feel bad? Fuck off. Flynn's eyes widen for a moment.
Do not fuck with me on this, Chase. You know that's the last thing I want to hear from you.
It's strange how I feel right now. Normally I'd be trying to calm the lizard down. Try to talk him through his temper and past trauma, but now I don't care. Just like with Carl, I don't care how far this goes. This is his fault in the end. I can't believe you, Flynn. You start this whole thing and now you try to act like the victim. It's fucking disgusting. Flynn gives me a baffled look.
What the fuck are you talking about? You mean what I said by the river?
Actually, yeah. That's probably the start of it.
How does that lead to you assholes fucking around by the lake?
You know exactly how. I watched Flynn carefully, trying to see if I can sense anything in his demeanor, in his expressions. I've never really known him to lie, but if he's lying right now, then he's fucking amazing at it, because all I can sense is bewilderment. He must have a lot of experience with lying.
Chase, what the fuck is up with you right now?
What do you mean?
You're acting like an ass.
Oh, so now you know how we all feel when you talk to us. Flynn stares at me, studying me. Then he looks up.
Who's here?
No one.
The fuck? Where's TJ and Jenna?
Not here. Flynn glances down at me.
Well, I gotta take a piss, so can I come in?
No. We stare each other down for a long, long time. Finally, Flynn pushes past me.
Well, I'm gonna give the door a knock to see if anyone's there. Maybe you missed him.
I whirl around and follow him angrily. He doesn't want to talk to you. Flynn turns on me.
Oh, so Teach's there. Oh, so Teach's here then. Why didn't you tell me that?
What do you think, Flynn? You need to leave right now. Flynn glares down at me.
I know you guys are up to something having to do with Sydney. If that's the case, then I have every right to know.
Flynn starts walking again.
And he has every right to talk to me himself.
I dart around Flynn and stand in front of the lizard, glaring up at him, bracing myself once again.
Get out of my way, Chase.
Leave him alone. Flynn pauses.
All I want to do is talk. That's it.
I let out a mirthless laugh. After what you did at the river? Hell no. Flynn tries to push around me again. I grab his arm. He swings, tries to yank it back, and I shove him back towards his truck. Leave. I'd be yelling right now, but I don't want TJ to hear us through the thin motel walls.
Don't fucking touch me. Get out of my fucking way.
He tries again, and this time I grab his arm and yank him away, swinging him like Leo did at the river. He might be tall, but I'm kind of amazed at how easy I can manipulate Flynn's body like a mannequin. Either that or I just don't know my own strength. Flynn rolls with a curse and immediately pops back up, taking an awkward swing at my head.
Fucking little prick!
I duck his punch and tackle him around the waist, knocking both of us to the asphalt as Flynn grunts loudly.
Oh!
I scramble on top of the lizard and sit on his chest, pinning his arms under my knees. Again, he can barely move under me. Weak. Weak. I snarl down at him, raising my fist. Flynn flinches, closing his eye and turning his head away. I pause, letting the tension build. Finally, I lower it. Leave, Flynn. Otherwise, I'm gonna cave in your fucking face. I'm tired of you bullying TJ and taking out all your problems on the rest of us and just being a miserable piece of shit in your shit all of your life. I keep my voice low, almost growling like a canine. Flynn cracks open an eye, looking up at me in fear. I fucking hate you. I always have, and you deserve to have every single one of your fucking teeth knocked out for the way you've always treated us. I look back towards the door, but it's closed, quiet. I look back down at Flynn. Leave, and I never want to see your ugly fucking face again. Ever again, understand? Flynn just stares up at me. I can see the fear still. Maybe even a little hurt.
What happened, Chase?
I don't say anything. I know he isn't going to fight anymore. I get up and Flynn lays there for a moment, staring at me. Finally, he rolls over and gets to his feet unsteadily. Then without a word, he gets back into his truck and starts it up. I turn away finally, hearing the lizard pull out of the parking lot as I open the door to the motel. I'm relieved to see TJ sitting on the bed, looking down at his phone. I was positive that he heard something. He looks up when he hears the door open.
Hey,
Hey, Tish.
what did she say?
Carl's good. Doctors are checking him out. She said you're fine and that she understands why you did it, but I guess she's a little stressed out too because she's going to a friend's house in Payson.
Oh,
TJ's ear is lower. I think she just wants to give you space.
maybe. I did get a text from Julian.
Oh, really? There's a twinge of irritation.
Yeah. Said he was gonna stop by after he drops off Carl. I was thinking we could wait until then before we leave. To talk to Julian at least. I don't think Carl wants to see me.
Okay. I try not to let the anger creep into my voice as I sit down on the bed next to the lynx.
And Jace?
Yeah? TJ smiles at me through puffy eyes and matted cheek fur.
Thank you for being there for me. It means a lot.
It's late afternoon by the time Julian arrives to pick us up from the motel. Things are predictably awkward at first as the stag drives us out of town in silence. I'm just happy that I managed to sit between him and TJ again, leaving the lynx to stare out his window as the desert landscape passes by. I watch Julian as his thumbs tap idly at the steering wheel before he suddenly sits up straight.
Oh, Chase, you left your camera in the truck bed yesterday. I forgot to tell you.
He glances over at me and I nod. Ah, yeah. Probably should have remembered that.
Do you want me to pull over so you can grab it out? Do you want me to pull over so you can grab it out? I don't know how you feel about it sliding around back there while we're on the highway.
I shrug. Should be fine. It's probably been the worst considering it's a crap rental from the university.
Ah,
Julian starts tapping away at the steering wheel again.
so your friend seems okay. He'll need to rest for a few months to recover, but he doesn't seem too worried about that.
I snort. Of course not.
Yeah. Anyway, what was it your friends wanted to do?
Julian leans forward a bit to glance at TJ. Just wish he'd keep his fucking eyes on the road. I nudge the lynx and he snaps out of his gaze from the window to look back at us.
Huh?
I was asking what you wanted to do tonight, TJ.
Oh. I'm not really sure. We could go see a movie, maybe.
Anything that you wanted to see? Or is it anything out that you wanted to see?
Not really.
You know, I used to do this thing where we'd get a random ticket to a movie I'd never heard of before. I'd have no expectations, so usually I'd be pleasantly surprised.
Oh. That sounds kind of fun. As long as it's not R-rated. Triple X would be fine.
As long as it's not a movie that takes place near a lake.
No, what is it? Friday the 13th? Or what, Halloween? What's the other one I'm thinking of?
Jason.
Jason.
They turn on the radio, and that's what's on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the way I do,
Why don't we go to the family plex? I cut Julian off, looking over at TJ.
The family plex.
Yeah, you remember the place, right? We go there as kids for birthdays and stuff.
the old rundown arcade thing at the mall?
Yeah. TJ seems to perk up a bit.
Yeah, I remember that's where Leo broke your phone. No, sorry. I haven't been there for like 10 years. That could be a lot of fun.
If it's still open. I haven't been to that corner of the mall in a long time.
It is.
Well, all right then. So, should we go there?
There's a moment of silence before TJ shifts next to me.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that.
Well, here we are.
And on that note, I will be right back.
Hi, let's have a little break.
And we're back.
And we're back.
The family plex is basically as I remember it. Like TJ said, a good decade has passed since we'd been here, maybe more. But the ugly, stained carpet and sickly colored walls still cover the place like a real relic of the 80s and 90s. I'm still happy to see TJ smile as we walk in. His adorably wide eyes scanning the place as I'm sure he's hit with the same sense of nostalgia.
Oh my gosh. Everything is exactly the same.
The look on Julian's face is slightly less enthusiastic.
Even the smell's the same. Or even smells the same. Vomits in his mouth a little bit.
It kind of I kind of like it actually. Reminds me of a movie theater.
Same.
It's really just the popcorn and recycled air from the AC.
I realize then what a fucking stick in the mud Julian is, but I ignore him, instead following TJ as we make our way to the machines. Luckily, the place is mostly empty. There's a group of teenagers being loud and annoying over by the air hockey tables, but otherwise we have the place to ourselves. For a moment we just stand there, then Julian reaches into his pocket.
You guys want to chip in some money, and I can go get us a few rolls of quarters?
I take a 5 out, and so does Julian, while TJ hands over a 10.
Wow, wow, Teach, that's a lot.
I only have 10s. Besides, we go through them fast. We always do.
Julian walks off to the front counter, while TJ and I wait awkwardly next to the skee ball ramp. I feel like things wouldn't be so tense if Julian wasn't here, and I feel myself getting progressively annoyed by his presence. I had asked TJ how he feels when Julian comes back with 2 rolls of quarters.
So, we have 2 rolls. You want me to count out your shares, or?
I shake my head. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. We're just here to hang out anyway.
TJ takes one of the rolls and tears off one end.
You guys want a skee ball?
Sure, I've always been pretty good with this game.
I take the open roll of quarters from TJ and take out one of my own, inserting it into the neighboring skee ball machine. There are only 2, and I kind of hope that Julian might just wander away, but he stays right there behind TJ, watching. I sigh and insert my coin, watching as the little balls roll out into the little compartment. Meanwhile, TJ is having a terrible time. Each one of his balls are rolling into the scoreless gutter. I roll my first ball and watch as it misses the 40 and rolls into the 10 gutter.
Oh, don't worry about it, TJ. Or, don't worry about it, Teach. Want me to show you how?
Julian moves next to me and I grit my teeth in annoyance, moving over a bit. The stag flicks the ball expertly down the ramp and it lands squarely in the 40.
Wow! On your first try, too!
Honestly, I'm out of practice. Usually I go for the 100s in the corner.
How do you do it?
Well, it's all about muscle memory. Da 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 da.
And you really just have to think, well, here we are. See, 100.
That's funny. I was just thinking, like, now we have two memes. Now we have Jaundice, and here we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jaundice and Julian.
Yep, it's JJ. Julian grabs a hold of TJ's wrist, and I feel my fur starting to stand up on my neck and shoulders.
It's all in the wrist.
He moves TJ's arm forward before bending the lynx's wrist.
Oh, I see.
TJ tries again, and this time gets the 10, but on his second try, he lands in the 50.
Nice.
Julian holds up his paw, and TJ slaps it loudly. The stag laughs, then looks over at me.
You all right, Jace? You still got 4 balls.
Man, he was well endowed. Without a word.
Mutant lover.
Without a word, I turn back to my machine and puck the balls down the ramp, each one landing in the gutter. Meanwhile, I listen to Julian and TJ celebrate another 50. For the rest of the night, I followed TJ and Julian around, the stag showing the cat how best to play the games. All the while, I stand next to them, dumping my quarters into games I don't even finish. Just want us to run out of here, so I just want us to run out so we can leave.
Damn, Chase is just being an ass this episode, isn't he?
Chase kind of
Jealousy.
Yeah, he's got some issues. The drive back is quiet and tense. TJ and Julian asked me multiple times at the family plex if I was all right until I finally told them I just had a headache. That stopped the questioning for the most part, and luckily that prompted TJ to propose that we should go back to the motel. I tense up again when he offers Julian to spend the night there, but luckily the stag declines, wanting to go back home to his own bed. As we drive, I notice TJ nodding off, his head bumping the glass of the window. You can lean against me, Tej. His ears flick, flushing a bit.
Oh, really? I mean, I don't wanna.
As an answer, I reach over and clasp the side of TJ's face before I force the lynx's head to lean sideways against my shoulder. TJ stiffens up, but then he relaxes, and 5 minutes later I can tell that he's fallen into a light sleep. Julian glances over at us occasionally, but doesn't say anything. I lean my cheek against the top of TJ's head. I realize how good it feels to sort of envelop him like this. It feels like I'm protecting him. All those bad, tense feelings from the arcade start to melt away. Pretty soon I start to drift off as well, the smooth drone of the highway, lulling me to sleep. I open my eyes and see the back of a rusty white sedan pulled off on the side of the road. Julian's pulling off as well, behind the car. The sun's already setting low in the sky. A little bit of cloud cover rolling in from the west. That's when I realize there's a large coyote standing next to the car, leaning over and looking at the front left wheel. She stands up when our headlights hit her, and she shields her eyes against the lights. Jaundice. Julian shuts his headlights off.
Looks like she's got a flat. The thing I thought just when it said the headlights hit her, it's just like bonk, was just smashed. He ran her over.
Yeah, goosh. Yeah, John's just standing there, and then she's suddenly like reverse Supermaning as the car flies over.
And then what? No, geez, what is that? Cinnamon Toast Man or whatever from Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah.
He's flying backwards with his butt hanging out. That's her.
Yeah.
Hmm?
TJ wakes up, and I'm a bit disappointed to feel him shift off of my shoulder.
What's going on?
Julian's already hopping out of the car, walking up to the now grinning John as she sets her paws on her hips.
Well, now what are you doing out here, Julie?
I can hear her loud, obnoxious voice even with the doors closed.
I love it. Like,
Jaundice has
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Like, I just love the fact that it says like your loud, obnoxious voice, and
This is the voice I give Jaundice. It's the fun thing, but so obnoxious as hell.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, damn.
No, it's going to be like that one person who's watching this who's just like, what are they talking about?
I
Oh,
don't
boy,
sound like that.
That sounds like me. Screw you guys.
and he's like,
Bubba, give me my shotgun.
He shoots his computer monitor with a shotgun.
I done did an Elvis. I shot my TV.
Let's show his socks.
was that freaking what, Saturday Night Live or like
Yeah, Mad TV.
Mad
Saturday Night
TV?
Live, something like that.
freaking awesome?
Jaundice has a flat. I'm going to go back to sleep until Julian's helped her out. TJ shakes his head, shifting himself to open the door and hop out. I sigh as he leaves, pushing myself across the seat to jump out as well.
Jason Tobias, too?
She turns her psychotic grin on us.
Yeah, we were having a night out. Anyway, do you need any help?
Well, yeah, you know, Julian, I actually do. I don't have my own jack. Been missing for the past 15 years. It's amazing. Never had a flat in 15 years.
Julian smiles back warmly.
Well, I've got one. Do you have a spare?
Yep, in the back. Hope it's not flat, too. Haven't had to use that thing in a while. Probably about 15 years, actually.
Fucking crazy Jaundice. We have too much fun with her.
Next, there's going to be a house that falls on her or something.
And Julian turns out to be the good witch. Well, go ahead and pop the trunk. We'll see what we've got. I'll go get my jack.
Julian jogs back to the truck while TJ and I stand behind Jaundice's car. Sadly, that's when the old coyote turns her attention on us.
Well, how you two doing this evening? I've sure got a lot of chores I would love for y'all guys to do. I'm doing well, thanks. I really don't want to do more of your fucking chores.
Yeah, fuck you, lady.
I just want to thank you again for doing all that yard work during your vacation. Seems like I'm always out here just needing help. Oh, it was no problem. It was no problem at all, ma'am.
I'm happy to let TJ do the talking, just wanting to get this all over with as soon as possible so that we can head back to the motel. I squint at Julian's I squint as Julian's headlights come back on and he hops out of his truck.
Just wanted to give us a little more light.
Jaundice pops the trunk and lifts it up, revealing a cluttered mess inside. She brushes it all aside and lifts up the flap, revealing an old, rusty spare tire. She nudges at it, testing the air pressure before lifting it out.
Well, it's a little deflated, but it should be enough to get me to Duke's house. Him and I having a night out. Well, more than a night in.
Yeah, it's like, you really want to go to Duke's house, Jaundice? You really want to go there?
Do you really want to go there? How about you have a night out at Brian's?
Ooh, Brian would
Brian.
love you, Jaundice. He would love you. He wants to take you out somewhere.
Brian
Wants
would.
to show you this nice vacation spot that he's got. Though you gotta go in the ground a little bit. It's fine.
Oh, Jaundice. Brian would do things to you that are just unspeakable.
You will never forget them.
You'll never forget them.
I know he's got a few tires I can probably use. If not, I'll just get him to drive me out and buy me one.
Julian kneels down next to Jaundice's car, sets up the jack. We stand there in silence for a bit, watching the stag as he works.
Speaking of your vacation, it wasn't really a vacation for you, was it, Chase?
My heart sinks a bit as the dumb yote turns her attention directly on me. Huh? I grunt politely in question, keeping my gaze on Julian to show Jaundice that I'm definitely not interested in what she has to say.
Well, that grumpy lizard Flynn was telling me about it in the diner a few days back. Something about you wanting to document the spooky stuff in town.
I try to think of a way to keep things uninteresting so she doesn't ask any more questions. Sort of. Mainly, I just wanted to find some information on a murder that happened like 100 years ago. I couldn't find much. I couldn't find much out.
Oh, limited sound more like one of those ghost documentaries I like to watch sometimes. I had a few stories for you. Also, Brian, he goes up to the mines every now and then. Don't know why, but always comes back alone.
Yeah, she really likes those. She really likes to watch that TV show, like Unsolved Mysteries. Then when it gets to the end, she's like, "So what happened? So what happened?" And it's like, but the mystery was never solved. And she's like, "Oh,
Damn, I never saw this coming. I sure love watching these cliffhanger episodes of Unsolved Mysteries.
Every episode's a cliffhanger." Can't wait for the sequel where they solve it.
I can't wait for the sequel to the series, Solved Mysteries.
Mm-hmm. I keep my eyes firmly on Julian's paws as he starts to crank the jack. Then TJ nudges me.
Hey, are there any rules against it being a ghost documentary?
I sigh, though I try to keep it quiet for TJ's sake. Well, it's more of a news piece, so a ghost story wouldn't really work. I don't think.
Actually, I've seen segments on the news about ghosts. I don't know if they're serious, but when someone catches something on camera, sometimes they'll play it.
I shrug. Well, Even if that's the case, it probably won't get me a very good grade.
It's better than no grade at all.
TJ smiles encouragingly at me, and I can't help but smile back. He always has a way of cheering me up, no matter how bad of a mood I'm in.
That's the spirit. Besides, could just be about the history of it rather than making it seem real. Even if it is real.
I sigh again, though this time I don't try to cover it up. Jaundice either doesn't notice or doesn't care.
So, would you like to hear them?
Yeah, let me grab my notepad real quick. I walk over to Julian's truck, listening to Jaundice as she babbles excitedly to TJ about how scary it is. I try to unzip the bag, but the ledge of the trunk bed is too small, so I have to grab the whole fucking thing and trudge it back over to the car. I unzip the side pocket and pull out my notepad and pen. Then I stand up straight and look at Jaundice expectantly. I don't think about recording this entire conversation, seeing as how I could, I don't know, use that for an entire segment. Interviewing the locals or some shit. But whatever. Fuck this place. The coyote sits on the.
Is that just like you just did that on your own?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, where is this at? Sorry.
The coyote sits on the ledge of the trunk, making the car shift.
It's that story again. She sat and the whole thing just like nearly hit the concrete.
Sits on the trunk. You just hear this as like as the metal runs at the ground.
She the car moves forward, you see sparks coming from underneath.
No, even better. You get some big raised truck, right? It's like raised 4 feet off the ground.
Fucking monster
when she
truck.
Starts to get into it, the thing just like leans off to the side. When she gets it inside, it goes down to looking like a normal car.
She jumps into a monster truck and becomes a lowrider.
Oh man! Can you imagine when we finally aren't fat anymore and we can't make these jokes and people not be like, "Ew." The coyote sits on the ledge of the trunk, making the car shift. Julian pauses, eyes wide, as I am sure he thought the sedan was about to topple off the jack.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's see. I can start with what my grandpa told me.
Yeah, that works.
Actually, that's great, because this happened right here in these very woods.
Jaundice gestures off the side of the road at the trees.
So, my grandpappy was taking a walk in there with my grandmama. In, I want to say something in the 40s, right after they was married. They were walking along one of the little trails in there. And as they were, they started hearing this strange sound in the woods, like something scuttling up and down the branches. They kept looking, but couldn't see anything.
TJ hugs himself and rubs his arms with his paws.
Wow, that's creepy. Oh, that ain't the half of it, Tobias. The thing is, as they kept walking, the sounds followed them, and then...
Jaundice lowers her voice, and despite my annoyance, I have to draw in a bit closer to hear her next words.
They started to hear it talk. Hear what talk?
TJ is fully drawn in by Jaundice's theatrics. I have to struggle not to roll my eyes.
Well, whatever it was, it started talking down to them like they were beneath it.
He was condescending to them.
Condescending spirits.
Wow. You're wearing that shirt?
It's like Treebeard starts talking shit to the hobbits. Ooh, look, little bastards.
You know, the next time you climb onto my face, you should take a shower. You smell like fertilizer.
I'm surprised you can climb my trunk with those little baby body hands. Good job, little tailless monkey.
Also, how have the orcs not found you? You smell like Well, I already used that one. I can smell you coming a mile away.
Almost sound like the guy, like the narrator from Elden Ring.
Sir Gideon, Fafnir.
And then Mary needs soup. Pippin.
And then Radagon got bottom surgery.
Bottom surgery.
By the way, just so you understand, I'm pretty sure you know the joke. Radagon is America.
Yes.
Yeah. Jaundice pauses and glances at me, and I make sure to not give her anything, staring glassy-eyed at my notepad.
What did it say? Well, just strange things like, you're here, and I see you. Though my grandpapa said he wasn't even sure if it was talking to them, really. He said that when it started to just laugh, that's when he and Grandmama started running. Even then, it followed them. He said it sounded like it was rising in the air and landed from tree to tree, following them until they got out.
At this point, TJ is just frowning, and I have to force myself to jot down the stupid notes.
Well, what was it?
Jaundice shrugs.
Don't know. Grandpapa only told me the story once when he wouldn't go on a family walk in the forest. I asked him why, and he told me. Asked Grandmama too, but she just pretended she didn't hear me. Thing is, my grandpapa's not a liar. That I can promise you.
I scribble in the notepad, pretending to write all this down.
Oh, he also said it sounded mechanical. Kinda like it was coming through a machine or computer. That's weird because they didn't really have those back then.
A moment of silence goes by as I wait for Jaundice to go on. When she doesn't, I look up. So, that's it?
Oh, yeah. Did you think they actually see something? No. It's a ghost, stupid.
I shrug.
It's a ghost,
Anything
stupid.
else? Jaundice thinks. I think that's difficult for her.
Well, well, there's this bear up on the road named Brian. One time he told me a story about seeing some aliens around here. UFOs and such.
This time I can't stop my eyes from rolling, but again, Jaundice doesn't either doesn't see or just ignores it.
Said back when he was a teenager, he saw a flying saucer as he was passing by the lake.
I don't even bother to move my pen, but Jaundice just keeps going.
You know, I was listening to this podcast a while back. You know those radio shows on the internet? Oh yeah, I love listening to those when I work out. Well, there's this paranormal one I listen to that really goes in depth on this kind of stuff. Well, and you know, we've all heard the story about gold in a quartz deposit.
Yep.
Well,
Jaundice lowers her voice, leaning in like she's discovered the best kept secret in the entire world.
in the podcast, they were going on about how places with lots of quartz ends up being more haunted. You know why?
I don't say anything, so TJ chimes in.
Why? Well, the quartz captures stuff from the past, like really emotional, angry stuff, and sometimes, when things line up just right, they play it back. Only when they do, it's all twisted up and mixed with other stuff. Makes what you see really awful and horrible looking. But you know?
Jaundice pauses again.
What? I think there's more to it than that. I think there's something with a conscious mind behind it all in echo.
I finally have to break in. Has anything happened to you specifically? You know, it's better if I have something straight from the source rather than secondhand. Jaundice finally goes quiet then, eyes flicking down to look at the ground. Julian, meanwhile, has pulled off the tire and is fitting the spare in place.
Well, maybe.
I grit my teeth. Shit, I wasn't hoping she'd call my bluff. What do you mean? Jaundice lets out a soft, mirthless chuckle.
Let's just say I've seen things I've promised not to tell anyone about, Chase.
I can't tell if she's joking or not, so I just go along with it. No? You order a hit on someone?
Maybe, Chase.
TJ stands there, a mortified expression on his face. I look down at my camera bag. Well, I think it might be good to get some footage of the trees in there while there's still a little light. If I'm going to do this whole ghost story thing, then I better give it a horror movie vibe.
Oh, that sounds wonderfully spooky. While you're at it, why don't you take my picture with me turned away from you right next to coming out of them trees? Be the murderer of Echo.
Jaundice, I don't know if you'll fit in the screen.
Oh, damn. Must have been that same part. Put me on the edge.
Remember everyone who's watching this. Jaundice is supposed to be like
Massively fat.
huge. Like she's supposed to be like southern white, mega obese lady fat. Like
even that guy who sings the song "I Like Big Butts" would be like, "I like big butts, but I don't like that one. I like big butts, but not that wide."
So just imagine Brian, but the female version of that.
Yeah, pretty much.
And yeah, I think
And
that's
bigger
what
and
she's
fatter.
supposed to be. Like, I start towards the tree line, then look back at TJ. You want to come with?
Oh?
TJ looks back at Jaundice and Julian, JJ, the latter of which is screwing in the tire.
Go on, TJ. Give him some company in there, especially after I told y'all that story.
He even
Justice
says she's
cackles,
cackling.
causing the car to shake again.
Besides, I don't mind keeping Julian company in the meantime. Oh, Jovi.
Julian grunts as he keeps his. Even Julian's just like, fuck this bitch. He's just like, why did I stop?
Why did I? Yeah. Just please don't pee on the dirt road right now.
I don't think he saw that, did he?
No.
Julian grunts as he keeps his focus on the tire.
Well, okay.
With that, TJ and I cross the ditch into the forest, following the little trail that weaves through the trees. As the darkness in the forest engulfs us, I look back at TJ, and see him timidly moving along, looking at the trees nervously. I grin. Are you scared? TJ looks over at me with a start.
Oh,
He lets out a soft laugh.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
I pause, waiting for the lynx to catch up to me. Then I hold out my paw to him. He stares at it for a moment as if not comprehending what it is. I stubbornly keep it outstretched. No one's gonna see. TJ seems to think for a moment. Then I see the lynx wipe his paw on his pants before quickly reaching out to take mine. I pull TJ along through the forest, glancing up occasionally to see if I can find a patch of sky sufficient enough for a shot that I want. Don't worry, man. You know I saw something in here too.
What?
TJ's busy looking off into the trees, his ears perked, listening. Yep, when I was a kid, I thought I saw a fox hanging from the trees.
Oh my gosh. Please don't tell me this right now.
I frown. Listen, what I realized is that sometimes people hallucinate things.
I'd rather just not talk about it right now. Just like all you listeners and watchers, there's something behind you. Look out!
It's behind you right now. It's got his fingers like a centimeter away from your neck. It's just, you can't even see it. Its hand is actually around your neck right now. It's just everything is out of sight.
Just
The moment you close your eyes and stop paying attention, or the moment you look back at it, it's going to start strangling you.
just before you, just when you think it's safe, it's right there. And who is it? It's Jaundice! And she's gonna go, oh my gosh, I'm in your house!
Then you'll hear a cracking sound. He'll fall through your floor
She'll
into the floor beneath you or the basement. It'll be like Home Alone, except
No, it's gonna be more like in the Aristocrats or the Aristocats, when all the cats are like partying and they just fall through one floor after another in that huge building, the multi-story building.
How you know. That is how you know we're old as hell. Like no one's gonna know what the Aristocats are.
I hope so.
They'll know the aristocrats, but they won't know the Aristocats. The aristocrats. All I'm saying is that the stories that Jaundice told us aren't real. And even if they are, those people hallucinated. That's it.
Well, sure, but that doesn't mean I won't still freak out if I do see something.
I squeezed the lynx's paw with mine, shaking it around a little. Well, you've got me if that happens. TJ squeezes back. There's a slight resistance in his grasp, though, as if he's trying to pull back from me while at the same time holding on to me.
Jace, have you been feeling all right?
I feel fine. I stop on the path, looking up at a little patch of dusk sky above me, almost spherical and perfect for the shot that I'm gonna get.
Because you seem a little bit off, especially when we were at the family plex. And I know we've all been a little off since what happened. I mean, I was feeling really, really weird the past few days.
I set the bag on the path, unzipping the main compartment and pulling out the camera, if you know what I mean.
Maybe you're feeling the same way I was?
I shrug, turning the camera on. I feel fine, Tej. TJ suddenly places a paw on my arm, and that gives me pause.
Chase, are you sure?
He's looking me directly in the eye, his paw pads warming the fur and skin under them, chasing away the chill of the evening. It's his wide blue eyes that catch my attention, though. They're sincere, kind, and full of love. It's then that I realize what TJ's trying to tell me. After all this time we've spent together over the week, getting to know each other better, talking about our future plans, it's only now that I realize. I stand up straight, facing the lynx more directly, a soft smile on my lips. TJ looks up at me, his eyes looking over my face as if searching for something. I lean in and kiss him.
Poor TJ's like, oh God.
At the last moment, our lips meet, mine on his for the first time. It's a moment of pure bliss. I close my eyes to show the lynx just how passionate I am about it. I feel his lips freeze up against mine, then suddenly they're gone. I open my eyes in time to see TJ stumbling backwards. One paw flies up to his mouth as the other stretches out behind himself, as if worried he's going to run into the trees. I guess I surprised him. I smile and follow the cat, reaching out my paws. You all right? I reach out. As I reach out for him, he pushes my paws away. I frown. What?
I was gonna ask you if you've given yourself to Christ, not ask you to kiss me.
And it's so in character for TJ too.
Yeah. TJ's
What was that?
TJ's whispering,
So
but
shouting
it's a
whisper.
loud sort of whisper, almost deafening in the quiet forest. What do you mean? I kissed you. TJ, I love you. The moment of pure shock and horror on TJ's face stuns me. What?
What are you talking about?
TJ, you're asking really dumb questions right now. You heard me. I feel myself getting a little irritated. I just bared my soul to him, and now he's acting like I just told him a terrible secret.
But you mean like a friend?
No, I mean like a boyfriend, a lover. I reach out again, but this time TJ twists away from me and then starts to back up, back the way we came from. I follow him.
Why? Why? How come?
I can see his rapid breathing, his wide eyes like a cornered animal. I feel myself get angrier. What do you mean, how come? Do I need to explain it to you? TJ keeps backing up, and I see what looks like fear in his eyes. I don't understand at all. Spawn of Satan!
Pulls up his cross.
Get out! Get out of my friend!
My fur catches on fire.
Suddenly, it's very bright outside. Like the sun just, descended from the trees.
He starts to turn around, but I grab his arm.
Hey! Hey!
You flirt with me all fucking week, and you're asking why? What the fuck are you talking about?
Chase, let me go!
He tries to pull away weakly, but I yank him forward so hard his teeth clack together in front of my face. He gasps. You make eyes at me across the table at the diner while we're doing yard work at Jaundic's house. And you don't get why? Why the hell am I getting so fucking angry?
Let me go!
TJ's still whispering, but it's getting louder. So you were just leading me on? I feel my voice break as it rises in volume as well. What is happening? Why am I doing this? Is this a dream? Were you leading me the fuck on, TJ? I see tears brimming in TJ's eyes, and he looks away from me, like a kid that just got caught doing something wrong. Do I need to tell you again? TJ, I fucking love you. I've known it since I picked you up from the college. Listen to me. I pull him closer, but as I do, he lashes out. I see a flash of light, and the next thing I know, TJ's escaped my grasp. My paw is still stuck out in the air as I watch the lynx disappear into the trees. Soon, the sound of his footsteps fade as well, and I'm left alone in the deathly quiet forest. I stare for a long time, listening to the nothingness, maybe waiting for TJ to come back, or for Julian to come up the path and beat me up. But nothing happens. I don't know how long I stand there, but then when I look up, I see the sun has finally set. I numbly lift the camera in my other hand, still holding on to it like I was when I kissed TJ. Slowly, I walk over to the bag and kneel down, putting the camera away. That's when I feel the nape of my neck prickle. TJ? I look back hopefully, but the path is empty. The forest, though. The trees and branches and leaves that outline the path just before it curves out of sight, 15 feet ahead of me. There's a shape in the trees. The shape of legs, arms, a torso, and maybe a head. The shadowy figure seems to blend into the leaves, almost melting into the twilight. I blink hard, but when I open my eyes, the figure is still there, unmoving, unchanged. That's when I realize that even though I'm holding my breath, I can still hear breathing. It comes from the direction of the shape, even though it doesn't move at all. It looks like a painting. Slowly, I stand up. It doesn't move. I start to walk forward, and that's when it finally changes. It starts to melt back into the trees, but the branches and leaves don't move. It moves through them. Then, as I reach the bend in the path, it fades into nothing. But the breathing continues. I look around finally, and see that it's gotten dark. That it's gotten dark to point. It's gotten dark to the point that I can hardly make out anything. Everything that you see is twisted from what it once was. But what is it? It was something once, just like I was. But nothing here is obligated to make sense to you. But what does it want? What does anything here want? The only thing you know for sure is that it's evil. And just like that, I'm running up the rest of the path, feeling as if the branches are clawing at me, trying to pull me back into the forest. And still the breathing continues just over my shoulder, growing ragged with my own, following me, chasing me. I feel it closing in on me, gasping, taking on a robotic tone as if someone is taking their last breaths through a phone. And then, and I'm the one on the other side, and I'm the one on the other end listening to it. The cracking breath hisses out, then rises up into a screech of static and noise, and I break through the trees, landing in the ditch and jamming 2 fingers in the process as I throw my paws out to catch myself. I don't care, though. I scramble out of the ditch, gasping for breath. I look up, hoping to see TJ, Julian, even Jaundice, but no one's there. Both cars are gone. I'm left alone on the road, in the silence and increasing darkness.
I was really thinking it would be so funny if I just wanted to interrupt so bad, just be like, as the static, everything just got closed before he broke out and be like, I'd like to talk to you about your car's extended warranty.
Yeah. It's panting behind me, and then I hear it whisper, "We've been trying to reach you regarding your car insurance. Your car's extended warranty."
That'd be fucking hilarious.
I walk back to the motel alone, hoping to see Julian's truck in the parking lot when I get there, but it isn't. Instead, there's the typical 2 or 3 cars along with my own. I still have a hope as I make my way to the door. Maybe TJ will be in the bathroom taking a shower. Maybe he'll already be asleep. Maybe he'll be awake and I can just forget what happened. Chat until it's late. Order a pizza like we did at Carl's house. But as I press the key card to the lock, and it flashes green, and I open the door, I don't see TJ at all. It's dark and empty. That's finally when I realize that TJ's left me as well. My mind is blank as I walk through the motel room, only then realizing that I left the camera in the forest. I don't care, though. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters anymore. I curl up on the bed and cry for a long time. I don't care how loud I am. I'm sure if anyone hears it, they've heard worse. The employee at the front desk probably hears it every week because that's just the way this town is. I fall asleep. When I wake up, I can't move. I don't care, though. It doesn't matter anymore. Even though I know better, I open my eyes. Weirdly enough, the motel is as I left it, disheveled with lights on. Nothing horrible at all. Until I hear footsteps at the base of my bed. I brace myself for it, but I keep my eyes open. I don't know why. I guess it feels like I'm punishing myself for what I did to TJ. I lay there on my side, curled up and waiting as the footsteps make their way around the bed. I don't know what to expect. my mind to conjure up. Maybe the demon in the forest, the evil eclectic creature, the evil electric creature that breathed into my ear as I ran from it, jumping from tree to tree behind me. But what I didn't expect to see was a small, old kit fox in a button-up shirt and a tie. I watch as he sets a card down on the table next to my bed. I get a moment to see a silver ring on his finger and the worn black claws. Then he picks up a bottle from the table that isn't there and takes a swig from it. Then he moves over to the closet rod, clothes that I don't recognize hanging from it. He's got a cord of some kind in his paws. He starts to tie it up on the rod, while the other end gets tied around his neck. I know what he's doing, and I try to close my eyes, but something seems to hold them open. This is too real. The fox braces himself against the wall, and I see his face clearly. Kind, weary, hopeless. And then he sits, but he doesn't completely sit because the cord pulls taut, and he's left with his legs at a loose slant on the ground. I see his eyes bulge, turning red, and at the same time those eyes meet mine. I think he sees me. I gasp and sit up in the bed, but he doesn't disappear. He lingers. It's only when he starts to go into convulsions that he begins to fade away. I hug my knees, my back pressed against the headboard of the wall of the bed as the fox continues to stare at me, then completely disappears. It was real. It was real. Was. Something's different. Something's wrong in the air. A sound from the bathroom makes me look over at the closet door. Something's in there. Automatically, I get up. It's like I'm not in control of my own body anymore. It's like I'm still in a dream, even though I know I'm not. I get to the door and stand there a little while, listening to the breathing inside, and then I open it. I stand there for a while, staring in. The light from the room pours into the bathroom, but there isn't enough to show me anything out of the ordinary. I feel it, though. There's an energy in there, pulling me in. Slowly I step inside, looking around, my heart hammering in my chest. I'm not scared. Not anymore. Sort of in anticipation instead of fear. Like I've been waiting for this ever since I got to Echo. I don't know if I believe in ghosts now, but I know what's happening here is real. I wait, feeling the cold tiles of the bathroom underneath the pads of my feet. I'm not sure how long I stand there in complete silence. It could be anywhere from a minute to 10, but that's when I finally get an answer. Close the door. Close the door. I don't hear anything, but I feel it. I feel it coming from my left. I look, but I don't see anything. This isn't like the other times when I'd hear him inside my head. No, the voice inside me is hiding right now. Like even he's afraid of this. Still, I sense it. Still, I sense it. And even though I start to feel that fear again, I reach out for that door. Close it, close it, close the door! For a brief moment, I have a sudden realization of where I am, what I'm doing, and what's happening. But that's far enough to stop me. There's a haze over my mind, over everything, like I'm in a deep, dark dream that I can't come out from. I think I've lost my mind, or I'm dead. Either way, it doesn't matter anymore. I push the door closed, but not fully. just letting a crack of light in so that I can see the mirror. I can see the outline of the fur on the left side of my head. But as I'm looking at that, I start getting the feeling that it's not me in the mirror. I look shorter, smaller, and something's wrong with my face. I can almost see what looks like the corner of a mouth stretched all the way to the jaw. Just like I saw in the diner. Just like I saw in the diner bathroom 5 days ago. I don't know. It feels so long. But it's then that I realize the presence I feel is coming from this thing in the mirror. We stare at each other for a long time, the fear rising and rising until it's almost overwhelming. But my feet won't move. My mind won't reason with what's happening. I'm in a nightmare. This is real. The mirror whispers at me. I see the grotesque mouth move with raspy whispering words. Slowly I move closer to the mirror, ducking my head down a bit, reaching up to touch my cheek where I see the widened gash in a mouth. The reflection does the same, but when I touch my face, I only feel smooth fur, even as the fingers in the mirror brush against the opening. What's happening? I ask myself, but my reflection responds. What's been happening for eons? What was supposed to happen to everyone in this town, but you stopped it. What? Coming back here was your secret. Almost started it. Coming back here with your secret almost started it. But now that everyone's about to find out? What are you talking about? This town might actually survive if they find out. Find out what? I bring both paws up to press against the sides of my face, as if to cover the gasping mouth. You know what? I squint at the reflection, trying to figure out why it looks so familiar. Sydney? There's a raspy, rustling sound, and I see the thing in the mirror shake, its head twitching from side to side, far too fast to be anything of this world. I take a step back. Dread rises in my chest. No, this was supposed to be over. I'm not supposed to see things anymore. You always knew they were wrong. Always knew that what you saw was real. Nothing normal about this. But it's not me seeing things again that got me feeling the way I do. No. What secret are you talking about? Again, the raspy sound of rustling leaves, sounding old and forgotten. That's what it feels like I'm talking to. Something old, monolithic, and ancient. You don't need me. Tell you. I grasp my shirt, twisting the fabric in my paws, feeling like I might panic, that I might go insane. Already insane. But how is anyone gonna find out? No one knows. You know that is not true. Who was responsible for the cruel joke? I swallow hard. Someone knows. No, that was something else. They didn't know. It was a stupid prank on me to make me look bad, to ruin our vacation. Vacation? Is that what I'm on right now? I mean, vacation? Is that what I'm on now? That thought is foolish, and you know it. It was definitely foolish. And you know who it was. And after what you did to him, I see myself pinning the lizard in the parking lot, holding back from pounding his face into nothing. He's going to tell everyone. No. I hear myself whine like a child, like a small creature in the mirror. Yes. Unless. No, wait. Feeling tears well up in my eyes, knowing that my life is about to change forever. The silence drags on until I finally break it. What? I can help you keep the secret. I wait a while longer, but the reflection stays quiet. I get the sense that time is going faster than I perceive it. My legs aching from standing there rigidly on the cold tile floor. Help me? I can tell you what you can do to keep things the way they are. I feel a small ray of hope pierce through the towering cold of impending doom in my chest. How? There's a dark pause, a moment that marks an in-between, between what was and what's about to become. I know things can't truly stay the way they are. They never do. Another split in my life, just like what happened years ago. Finally, the thing speaks, and I hear exactly what I expect. Do the same to the lizard. Swallow. Feel myself resisting, rejecting the idea. Unless you want them all to know your secret. But how do I know it was him? He sounded like he had no idea what we were doing. He is deceptive, a liar. His entire family has always been. But I can't. If I don't know for sure, show him the note. You'll see his reaction. The truth. My paw drifts to my pocket, feeling the gentle outline of the folded paper. Who are you? The wrestling leaves again, and I realize that while this might be Sydney, it's something more than Sydney, and it doesn't answer me. We stand there for a long time again. Minutes? Hours? I don't know. Why would you help me? This time, the answer is immediate. This town needs a secret. Why? Again, no answer, and I stand there for what feels like hours. As I continue to stare at the small, disfigured creature, I get the feeling that it's starting to move independent from me. That thought scares me, and I lift my paws. I'm relieved to see the reflection do the same, but as soon as I touch my face, I feel the corner of my mouth stretch up to my ears. In a sudden burst of panic, I lunge for the light switch and flip it on. I'm stunned as I'm bathed in blinding yellow light. I have to shut my eyes for a moment before opening them. I see myself in the mirror as I've always been, staring back blearily. My eyes are bloodshot, and my figure seems to sag with exhaustion. I stand there for a while, feeling my mind cloud up even more as I go over what just happened. Then a violent shiver comes over my body, I'm suffering from like I'm suffering a high fever. I feel sick. My skin is sensitive, my joints are sore after a moment. I move back into the motel room. I can see that the light outside, I can see that it's light outside the curtains. How long was I in there? It must have been hours. I don't care though. Still shivering, I head for the closet bed, for the closest bed, sliding under the covers in my clothes and laying my head against the pillow. I realize that this is Jenna's bed. I can smell her perfume along with the faint sense of fox musk through the pillow. Was she? Where was she again? Can't even remember through the haze in my head. I think I fell asleep, but I'm not sure. A sudden knock at the door makes me jump. I curl up tighter under the covers, hoping that I'd just dreamed it, or that whatever is outside just goes away. Then the knock again, followed by Leah's voice.
Otter, you in there?
I cringe, squeezing my eyes shut, having completely forgotten about him. Why had he chosen to show up? No. I lay there for a moment. Then he yells again, which makes me jump out of my bed, cringing at the pain in my joints. Groggily, I stumble to the door, leaning against it for a moment as I feel lightheaded, trying to gather myself. Finally, I fix my face into a tired smile before opening the door. Leo just Leo stands there, his ears perked, eyes wide as if he hadn't expected me to open the door.
Oh, hey, Chase. Are you alright?
He reaches out to rest a paw on my shoulder, looking me over. Yeah, was just up all night doing my project. I left it until the last moment. I give him a sheepish grin. Leo clicks his tongue at me.
Isn't that due tomorrow? And aren't you driving home all day today?
I shrug. I'll be fine.
If you say so, Otter.
He continues to stare at me with a look of concern. What's up?
Well, I guess I'm just sorry that I haven't been around more this week. I. Well, I guess I was just being a bit unfair to you.
I rack my brain for a reason why Leo's apologizing to me, or how exactly he'd been unfair to me.
I guess I've just been a bit down because you weren't talking to me as much as I thought you would.
Oh? Had Leo been avoiding me all week? I hadn't even noticed. Oh, well, it's all right. I was wondering why you hadn't texted me. I'd been missing you.
Oh,
Leo's ears flatten and I see a look of shame cross his face.
you could have texted me too, you know.
I didn't want to bother you. I could tell you weren't all that happy. Leo lets out a big sigh, letting his shoulders droop.
I'm sorry, Chess. I guess I just felt kind of shitty after what Flynn did. Then you just kind of went quiet.
I scratched the back of my head. Yeah, I can't deny that he kind of ruined the vibe of the whole trip. But I really should have called you afterwards. I'm sorry too.
My dad did call me in to work every day, so I guess it would have been hard to work things out anyway.
That sounds familiar. He's still making you work weekends too?
Usually, yeah.
Leo looks past my shoulder into the motel room.
Anyway, when I texted Gina, it sounded like something was wrong. I guess she's already back in Pueblo?
I shrug. Yeah, I think the tension got to her in the end, and she took off early. She was complaining about Flynn the entire time she was here. Leo lets out another sigh.
Great. He's been acting strange too.
Yeah? I silently hope that the wolf isn't going to ask to be let in.
Yeah, driving around acting all shady. That's actually what made me want to visit you. See if everything was okay. Carl isn't even responding to me.
I'm good. Just tired and stressed out.
Is Tej here?
He's actually hanging out with an old friend in Peyton right now. Once he comes back, we're going to start driving back. Was actually in the middle of a nap.
Oh, sorry. You wanted to get back to that then?
I smile guiltily. Yeah, that would probably be for the best. Don't want to nod off on the road, you know?
Of course.
Leo looks back at me hesitantly.
Listen, I know this was probably going to be our last time getting together before we split off, but you want to try this again in the future? Maybe over the summer, when you don't have school to worry about? I just feel like we left a lot unsaid. Doesn't have to be everyone, and maybe this time I'll just tell Flynn not to come around.
I smile back at Leo. Yeah, that sounds good. I think that'd be a great. I think that'd be a great time. Leo smiles back, looking genuinely relieved and happy.
Oh, that's so good to hear. And I'll be sure Dad knows that I want the week off.
Good luck with that. I'll let TJ and Jenna know.
Thanks, Jess.
Leo stands there for a moment, then steps forward to give me a hug. I hug back tightly before letting him go. I stand at the doorway until Leo's van pulls out of the parking lot, heading in the direction of the highway, probably on his way to work. Once he's gone, I deflate, feeling as if that one conversation had been equal to hours of hard labor. Still, watching him go, I get the sense of sadness, like that was the last time we'd see each other the way we are now. I stumble back to the bed, almost falling before I catch myself on the edge with both paws. I stare at the square pattern on the comforter, feeling a little sick. For a moment, I hear whispers coming from the dark bathroom, but I don't even want to look up to see if I can see that figure in the mirror. Wish I'd closed the door, but I'm not gonna go near that place again. So I curl back up in the bed, facing away from the bathroom, closing my eyes, and just then noticing the smell of piss. I'd gotten bored before skipping rock. I gotten bored of skipping rocks pretty quickly. Leo was good at it. He could skip them over the water 5 times before they sunk. Even Jenna could do at least 3. Mine would splat once and then sink like the stones they were. After Leo laughed at my last one, I glared and decided I'd go farther down the beach where no one else could go.
Hey, not in the way of the rocks. You're going to get hit.
Leo telling me to be careful only made me more angry, and I cut through the water far below the surface so they couldn't see me. I go back in the direction where we came from, wondering if Sydney and Toby are in the shallows, that I might be able to surprise them. Then I cover around the curve of the beach. I see that they are in fact in the shallows, but I can tell immediately that something isn't right. Toby is flat on his stomach in the water. Sydney's sitting on his back. Toby has just enough room that his head barely sticks out of the water. As I poke my head up, I can hear the cat sobbing. Sydney isn't saying much at all. He's got a strange look on his face. It's a look that I've seen before, like that time he'd covered Toby's mouth and nose when he had him pinned down and we had to pull them apart. It same look like when he'd thrown a dirt clod with a rock in it at the lynx's head. A look of determination, almost empty, but completely fascinated by what he was doing, almost like he liked it. Something about this situation scared me, though. The other times we'd been there to help separate them or stop Sydney from going too far. But now, it looked like he was trying to kill the cat. Every now and again, a wave would slosh over Toby's mouth and nose, and he'd yell and struggle frantically, begging Sydney to get off. But Sydney just sat there, enamored with his own cruelty. He was going to kill Toby, just like he killed his dad. My vision blurs as I go under and speed towards them. I leap out of the water to knock Sydney off the lynx as hard as I can. Sydney falls back in the water before quickly pushing himself back up. I see the look of horror on his face, not at what I'm about to do to him, but because he got caught doing something bad. Not just bad, but weird and scary and something that no one should ever do. Not even if you're a kid. I don't think he could ever explain why he liked doing it. That look imprints itself in my mind. TJ runs off. I don't know where to. I try to get Sydney to tell me what he was doing for a while. I don't remember exactly what happens, but I get angry. I throw a punch. It misses and hits him in the throat instead. He lets out a hard cough, reaching up with both paws to clutch at his neck. He manages to stumble to his feet without using his paws, his Luce Lobro swim trunks wetly clinging to his legs. I don't give him a chance to stand for long. I tackle him again and grab his head, shoving it under the water. He scrambles frantically. I feel a dark satisfaction in my chest at the way I can hear his screams through the bubbling of his exhaling breath. I finally let him go after a good 10 seconds, and he comes up, gagging and choking. He starts to scramble away on his paws and knees before getting up. I see snot hanging out from his nose and chin as he stumbles, snorting out water, and I can tell he's about to cry.
I guess I should do Sydney.
You tried to kill me! I'm telling Leo! You tried to murder me!
So that was it. For some reason, the way he immediately tried to pull that on me. It was then that I believed that he was trying to kill TJ. Maybe not even on purpose. Maybe just wanting for it to accidentally happen. I don't know. But now, he was going to make everyone think I'm a murderer. Even though we all knew, no, he did it. He stumbles away and I go after him, grabbing him. He's trying
to kill me!
His voice is weak, so is his body, especially in the water. I poke my head up through the waves in front of the others.
Otter, move! We're going to hit your head.
I shrug my shoulders, dipping under the water again, so that I can actually hug myself and tremble alone. Again, time passes in a way that I'm not familiar with. 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 hours pass when my phone starts to ring. There's something ominous about it. Something I can't explain, but I feel it deep in my bones, like the ache of my joints. I open my eyes and see my phone just a foot in front of my face, vibrating over and over. I see the blank contact image on the screen with the name Julian under it. For a moment, I wonder why I have his number, why I have his name attached to it. Then I remember it's because we exchanged numbers during the scavenger hunt, so that I could call him to meet up. Slowly, I reach out and press the green button to answer. I raise it to my ear, waiting, but only getting silence on the other end. Hello?
Well, here we are. Hey, Chase?
Julian's voice sounds hesitant, like he's not really sure about what he's doing. Like he doesn't know me. Yeah?
Hey, so something happened that I thought you, or at least someone, should know about.
I slowly sit up, the blanket falling away from my shoulders. What's up?
Well, TJ spent the night over at my place after what you did.
Julian's base, face. Julian's voice takes on a Julian's voice takes on a hard edge, and for a moment I'm not sure what he's talking about. Then I remember the forest and what happened there. For some reason, the thought doesn't create that horrible empty guilt I'd felt yesterday. In fact, I feel nothing.
Anyway, we got him a bus ticket back to CCU, and we were hanging out until the departure time, which was an hour ago now.
Yeah?
Well, that lizard guy showed up. Flynn? He showed up at my house. I don't know how he knew where I lived, but I think John just told him.
My heart skips a beat.
Anyway, he wanted to talk to TJ, and eventually TJ told me that I could just wait inside. So I did. And after a while, when I looked, they were gone.
Gone?
Yeah, and so was his truck. I'm pretty sure TJ went with him, but I don't know. They were both acting really strange, so I don't really feel good about it. TJ won't respond to my text either.
I see.
So, since your number is the only one I have from your friend group, I thought I should tell you so you can let the others know too.
All right, I'll do that.
All right.
There's a pause, but I'm already getting up, looking for my keys.
I'll probably check things out myself before my shift today. You know where Flynn lives?
I can tell that the bug doesn't really trust me with this information, and why would he? I don't care though. Yeah, he's on Shefford Street. Jaundice will be able to point out where it is for you, but I'm heading over now.
Let me know if you find anything out.
I will, later.
Bye.
I feel my heart rate picking up speed as I finally find my keys under my backpack on the table. I snatch them up and jog out of the motel, the heat of the afternoon sun coming over me in a wave. I realize then how late it is. I'd been in the motel for nearly a full day, but to me it felt like only a few hours, if that. I should be on the highway right now. if not already back in Pueblo. But I realize that none of that matters now. As I sit on the oven-like, as I sit down, the oven-like heat of, as I sit down in the oven-like heat of my car, I see it staring at me from the back seat. I'm not afraid of it. At least not right now. It means that I am on the right track, I think. I'm doing what I was meant to do. I know where Flynn and TJ are. He probably thinks that's the best place to get the truth out of TJ. His truck sits there in the small parking lot alone, gleaming in the setting sun. I pull up right next to it and look inside. Empty. I park and shut off the engine, jumping out and jogging towards the faint trail through the sagebush. I know exactly where to go. Instead of turning right like we always did to get to the boulder, I take a left. I haven't been to this part of the beach in over a decade, not since it happened. I know this is the right direction, though, and soon enough, I see the bend in the beach that turns into the shallows that we'd played in so many times. I also see an odd set of tracks leading in that direction. Flynn's footprints, not hard to recognize with their long clawed toes. But there's another pattern next to them. They aren't footprints, but drag marks, like Flynn had been dragging something next to him. I pick up the pace and start to run, breath catching in my throat, that feeling of not being able to turn back looming over me like a dark fog. The water and sand around me is starting to tinge a soft red in the setting sun. For a moment, I wonder what would happen if I stop. What if I turn back instead of turning this corner? I know that my life will turn out very, very differently if I do. That thing in the mirror, this town, it told me so. But I feel like I'm set on a set of train tracks, cutting through the desert with no alternative path to speak of. And I've been on this track ever since I decided I needed to protect TJ. As I turn the corner, I see them immediately. TJ's sitting on the beach, his knees drawn up to his chest as he stares downward. Flynn is standing over TJ, his paws on his hips, looking down at the cat. It looks like he'd been thrown there by the lizard. I finally feel rage replace the anticipation and fear. It's finally going to happen, and now I want it to. Hey! Flynn immediately whirls around, eyes wide as he spots me sprinting towards him. He takes a step back as I get closer, but I skid to a stop 10 feet away, glaring at him as my paws clench into fists. What the hell are you doing? I scream at him, wanting him to know just how pissed I am. It feels good, finally not being afraid or worried about what's going to happen, because now I know there's no other option. Flynn looks taken aback for a moment, looking me up and down before he straightens up. He hasn't forgotten what happened between us yesterday, and I can tell that he's afraid of me.
Get the fuck out of here, Chase. This isn't about you.
You fucking bet it is. I look at TJ and he's gone back to staring at the ground, expression vacant. What are you doing to him?
I'm not doing anything to him except asking him some questions.
About?
You know exactly what about.
He's trying to confirm your secret. Get away from him. I say each word with deliberation, taking a few steps closer to the lizard. Flynn steps back again, but only with one foot, He doesn't back away further.
You stay the fuck away from me, Chase. And what the hell have you been doing this whole week?
Flynn seems to grow a little more confident with that. What do you mean? I stop and cross my arms, waiting.
What I asked yesterday. After what happened to Carl, I think I'm owed a fucking explanation.
I feel the anger rise up even more in my chest. You want an explanation after the shit you've been pulling? Flynn once again looks taken aback by my anger.
The hell are you talking about?
My paw moves to my pocket. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That fucked up scavenger hunt that you sent us on. That you started with Carl. Flynn gasps at me.
What?
I feel some of my resolution dissolve as the lizard's face looks completely bewildered. He's lying. Anger swells once more. Quit fucking lying to me. I know what you did, and I know what you think happened. Flynn steps forward.
Chase, get the fuck out of here. This isn't about you. TJ's telling me what happened.
I look down at TJ. Again, at that vacant stare. What did he tell you?
Leave. This isn't about you.
Flynn walks up to me, giving me a hard shove in the chest. I stumble back. Really? I feel my paw reaching into my pocket as if of its own accord. I grasp the note, and even though my nerves fail me as I'm pulling it out. It seems to happen on its own. And what the hell is this? I unfold the note, ripping the old paper in the process. But it's intact enough when I present it in front of the lizard's face. Flynn's brow furrows in confusion for a moment before he takes it roughly from my paws. He stares at it, eyes scanning the page as if looking at it from all angles. Finally, his eyes flick up at me.
What the fuck is this?
He whispers hoarsely. I look straight back at him, waiting for the expression of familiarity, the guilt, the knowledge that that piece of paper is his own doing. But instead of what the mirror promised, I get shock and confusion instead. Just like that, I feel my determination break down. It was as if something had been driving me to this moment, and that cloud covering my brain breaks for a moment. For a moment, things are clear. I'm left in a daze. I don't...
What is this?
His voice turns up into a scream, and it's such a horrible sound that I stumble back. He holds the paper up, showing me, and I stare as if I'd never seen it before. Unlike the other notes, this one is a crude drawing. On the left of the page, a small stick figure with lynx ears is kneeling on a beach, surrounded by clams and starfish. He's covering his face, tears falling into the sand below. Extending out from the beach, poorly drawn waves spread across the top of the page to represent the lake. Far below the waves, two figures are connected near the bottom of the page. One has X's for eyes, his legs and arms splayed out, tiny little bubbles coming up from his mouth. Below that figure another sits below him, grinning mischievously, holding the drowned stick figure down by his tail. as if the picture wasn't deceptive enough. Words are drawn, and arrows label the characters. Toby sits on the beach, Sydney dead in the water, and Chase holding him down. I'd looked at the drawing so many times before, but now I have Flynn now to have Flynn be the one to show it to me. But he had to have been the one to draw this. Who else could have done it? But there he was, standing there with a stare of shock, just like me but I could see his expression very quickly morphing into fury. All my plans to confront him, to figure out how he'd found out, are thrown out the window because he just found out. I'm completely unprepared, and conveniently the presence that spurred me on has left as well. And it's only now that I realize how stupid this all was. It's like I'd been tricked.
Chase.
Flynn's walking towards me. His expression is like nothing I've seen before.
Chase.
I can see in his eyes what he's about to do. And back away, stumbling. And that's when he rushes, tackling me to the ground and crushing me into the hard, sharp rocks beneath. Unlike yesterday, all my strength and confidence has abandoned me. It's like whatever had been driving me has left me right at this moment, taken several steps back to watch. Like it wanted this all to happen all along. Flynn's fists find my face, first on the right side, then another on the left. Each one brings a flash of light to my vision, and at that moment all senses leave me. Kind of nice in a way. Like I don't have to be present for the horror that I brought on myself. A few more punches come my way. The impacts like earthquakes in my head, but I don't feel any pain. Instead, they leave me feeling stunned, like I'd been electrocuted. I can feel blood pouring from my nose like a faucet, though, and soon it fills my mouth with a familiar metallic taste.
You fucking piece of shit! You think you can just play with me like this?
His strong, big hands find my neck and start to squeeze. Through blurred vision, I can see him above me, eyes filled with tears, glaring down at me with a rage that I didn't think was possible.
You little shit! You won't fucking get away with this shit this time!
I hear the rustling leaves again. My reflection, Sydney, the town, whatever it is, laughing at me. Vaguely, I wonder if Flynn had been spurred on by it too. We're puppets. Nothing seems real right now. What's happening to me? To Flynn? What's happening between us? It seems impossible. But the breath that's stuck in my throat is very real. I start to see stars and blackness begin to cloud my vision. After the things I've done, I guess I deserve it. I guess I deserve the appropriate way to go out.
Flynn!
A soft voice is coming from the distance.
It was me. I did it.
Hands come away from my throat and I take in one massive breath. Like I'm coming up from the water after being under for far too long. Spit and blood go down my throat and into my lungs, and I roll over, letting out a great cough, spraying the rock in front of me and in front of my face with dark drops of blood.
What?
I watch as blood drips to the flat rock with a steady rhythm. From my nose, having to breathe extra hard to get my mouth full through my mouth because it was full of it.
I said I did it. It was an accident. I pushed him out into the water and he drowned.
I grabbed the rock, stumbling to my feet, feeling that old anger return. He's going to kill Toby. Stop him. I stumble unsteadily to my feet and turn to see the lizard with his back to me approaching Toby, TJ. He will never leave Toby alone. Just like Sydney. I stumble after them, hand tightening around the rock, the back of Flynn's head just in my sights.
What did you say?
But you can stop it for good. Break the circle. I'm a few steps away from Flynn when I swing, bringing it down on his head as hard as I can. The sound is awful. Immediately, Flynn bends over, screaming in pain as his paws come up to clutch the back of his head. I swing again, this time glancing off the top of his head, most of my power robbed by the poor angle. Flynn turns to me then, still crouched low and tries to tackle me. I stay on my feet for the most part, but I'm pushed back several feet as I grab onto his back for support. I feel the cold water on my feet. And that's when I grab the ladder under his armpits and start to pull us both out further. Flynn doesn't seem to realize what's happening until the water is up to our knees. He stands up straight and I see the blood running down his face from his head. He's glaring at me, expression wild, gaze clouded just like mine. When he takes a swing at me, it lands on my jaw. Though my head is snapped to the side, and another flash fills my vision, I'm able to grab that paw and swing him out further into the lake. The lizard stumbles out into the shallows, standing up, waist deep, and that's when I throw myself at him with everything I've got. I tackle him into the water, and we're both submerged. I feel a change in Flynn's demeanor. The change as he realizes he's gone from fighting for the truth for fighting for his life. Claws come out and scratch at my arms, but I ignore it, the cold of the water numbing any pain that I might have felt. I kick us further out into the lake, my powerful tail and body coming into play, doing what I was built to do. I know I knocked the breath out of Flynn when I barreled into him, so he doesn't have much time before he needs another breath. I'm not going to give it to him. I thrust us both through the water, downward against the rocks and sand below us. He grasps at me, kicking with his feet, and I catch a glimpse of his face then. It's not angry anymore or clouded. Instead, he stares at me with shock and utter disbelief. I'm killing him, and he realizes it. He also realizes the truth then. I see it in his eyes. What he's wanted to know for the past decade, he realizes in the last minutes of his life. He kicks at me with his feet, his movements becoming even more desperate. His paws move to my neck, trying to choke me again, but it's useless. I already have my breath. I watch bubbles spurt from his muzzle. Then, all at once, in a gush. His paws go from strangling to pleading. He's grabbing me by the shoulders. Shaking, tugging, looking into my eyes. But I'm relentless. That feeling of not being able to turn back too strong. His muzzle opens, trying to breathe, but only taking in water. His thrashing turns up a notch, scratching my legs with his claws as he kicks even harder. The second burst of desperation only lasts a few seconds, though. His movements growing more and more tired, weaker and weaker. He's not looking at me anymore, eyes staring past me towards the glimmering surface above, a place I'd never let him see again. His movements become more sporadic, like he's having convulsions. My instincts tell me to let him go, to end this insanity, but my paws won't let me. I close my eyes and press harder. After a few more minutes, I don't feel any more movements. Slowly, I let him go, careful not to look at his face. His body stays still for the most part, moving back and forth gently with the current. I kick to the surface, my limbs numb as I break through to the cold air above. I pull myself along through the rocks, gasping and feeling incredibly weak for some reason. My stomach lurches, and for a moment I feel as if I'm going to throw up. I stay there on my hands and knees, staring into the water at my reflection. My face looks blank, and for a moment I see the horrible gashed mouth. I know I'm crying, even if the lake water is covering it up. What happened? But as I look up, I see TJ there. Everything comes together. He's on his knees, staring past me, mouth hanging open. Suddenly I remember why it is this. Suddenly I remember exactly why it is this all happened. And my chest fills with warmth and love for the cat as I stumble towards him on my knees. TJ doesn't seem to notice as I wrap my arms around him, pressing his face to my chest. I've got you. We're okay. He's not going to hurt you anymore. I breathe heavily into the lynx's ear as I whisper to him, wanting to let him know that everything's going to be okay. Finally, I feel him shake his head against my body.
What? Chase? Why?
Because he knew. And he was never going to leave us alone. He tried to kill us. I kissed the top of the cat's head gently, wanting him to know how much I care.
Is he?
He's gone. TJ sobs against me, but I only hug him tighter.
Why did you do that?
He reaches out to my left, and I look, seeing the paper and the lake. I'm not sure which he's talking about. Me showing Flynn the paper or killing him? I don't know. So I don't answer. Instead, I hug him even tighter, whispering in his ear. It'll be just like last time. We won't tell anyone our secret. Something turns ominous in the air. That horrible tension I'd felt dissipates when we'd opened the letters. That horrible tension I'd felt dissipates when we opened the letters returns. This town needs secrets. Well, tell him he tried to kill us. We had to protect ourselves. TJ leans tiredly against me, his arms limp. We're gonna be okay. Just like last time. We can forget. TJ doesn't respond, so I look out at the lake and get a shock as I see Flynn floating there, close to the shore. His face down, just barely touching the surface. For a moment, I wonder if it's not too late, if there's still enough life in him to be revived. But the same feeling holds me back I cling to TJ instead. We're gonna be okay. We were manipulated. We keep moving in circles. That voice comes to the surface for a moment, for the first time sounding stunned. I return to focusing on the links, the whole reason why I did any of this in the first place. Whatever happens, I'm going to protect him from all the shitty people in the world that want to hurt him. By the time we get to our feet, it's dark, and I have to help the lynx along through the sagebrush. He's quiet, robotic like he was the first time this happened. I help him into my car, and I get to the into the driver's seat, quietly pulling out into the parking lot and quietly pulling out of the parking lot and leaving Flynn's empty truck behind. I watch it disappear in the rear-view mirror, sitting alone under the yellow parking lot lights. As we drive along the road, the lynx stares out the window. I can still feel the tension in his arms and legs, making it difficult. I can still feel the tension in my arms and legs, making it difficult to keep the wheel steady. My heavy, wet clothes stick to the seat. Finally, we get to the freeway, and I look back again. Echo, just a series of tiny lights, insignificant on the desert landscape. It seems absurd that this place was where all that horror happened, where all that horror still is.
Chase?
I snap out of my daydream, looking over at the lynx, his eyes glowing gently in the fading light.
After we're done with wherever we're going.
The police station?
Yeah. Can you give me a ride back to CCU? I missed my bus.
TJ smiles sheepishly, and I blink, wondering what to say. Does he not realize? Then I realize what he's doing, what's happening. Just like last time. I clear my throat. Oh, yeah, definitely. I'll give you a ride for sure.
Thanks, Chase.
TJ smiles at me, then goes back to looking out the window. I wonder if he'll forget what happened, like what happened with Sydney. I hope that I can. We drive off into the dark desert towards the soft glow of Peyton in the distance. 5 years later. Seriously, this is gonna be such a good fucking time. You'll be glad you came. The big grizzly bear nudges the coyote playfully, almost knocking the canine into the passenger window.
Ow! Keep your paws on the wheel. And your paw, at least. Or your paw, at least. This road ain't in good shape.
Cameron eyes the giant half-eaten burger in the bear's equally giant paw. Dev's other paw casually steers the wheel, elbow resting out through the open window. The bear looks happier than he'd been in a while, somehow grinning as he chews. The coyote sighs and stares out his own window, watching the desert landscape fly by. It was nothing like this in his hometown, and he found himself wishing he was back amongst the pine forests. Something he'd been wishing ever since he something he'd been wishing since he moved out to Pueblo for school. Technically, this was his natural habitat, but he found the whole place depressing somehow. Empty and dry and rough. I think I'm Devin, right? Or are you Devin?
No, you're Devin. I'm Cameron.
What you pouting for?
I'm not pouting.
Yeah, you are. Cameron sighs, deciding to change the subject.
So, why couldn't Larry go again?
I don't know. Said something about his car breaking down. I think he just flaked, though.
Aren't there other haunted places in Pueblo that we could have gone to, like by the school?
The bear shakes his head, letting go of the wheel to crumple up the foil that had packaged his sandwich and tossing it into the back. Not like Echo, dude. This place is the most haunted town in the entire fucking world. Cameron sighs once again, then suddenly grasps his seat as the car swerves and turns hard into a smaller road, heading towards a big blue lake.
What the fuck?
Whoops! Sorry. Almost missed the turn. Gotta hit Lake Emma before the actual town. The road quickly ends in a small parking lot, empty and cracked. There's still a truck sitting there, rusting.
Why?
Because a lot of shit happened here. The grizzly hops out of the car, making the entire thing tilt sideways as he squeezes his bulk out before reaching into the back for the camera bag. The coyote allows himself one last frustrated sigh before he gets out as well. The bear waits for him, reaching out. The bear waits for him, reaching out a large padded paw. Cameron takes it and is immediately drawn into a tight embrace and a kiss. The coyote tenses up for a moment and waits until Devin releases him.
Ugh, can you not do that right after you eat a big, greasy hamburger?
Cameron makes a show of wiping his lips. Devin rolls his eyes. No pleasing you, is there? Nevertheless, the grizzly holds out his paw again and Cameron takes it, the two of them walking towards the faint trail. It's not a pleasant walk, the trail almost obscured by sagebrush and dry vegetation. Once they reach the edge of the lake, Devin has to help the coyote down the rough, rocky terrain. The coyote feels like a child as Devin lifts him down off the boulders and onto the beach, the bear's tree trunk biceps bulging as he does. They stand there for a moment, taking in the scenery. Then Devin leans over to set the camera bag down. Cameron stands there, looking around at the very unphotogenic lake.
So, what exactly happened here that you're so interested in?
Devin takes off his backwards baseball cap for a moment to smooth his head fur down. He puts it back on and bends over again to take out the camera. Some people say the lake is haunted too. Some guy got killed here in like 2015, according to a few articles I read.
Wonderful.
That was self-defense, though.
Was that during the whole hysteria thing or whatever?
Devin pans the camera across the length of the lake before stopping on Cameron. Coyote frowns at being filmed. No, that was in 2017. The bear pans the camera the other way now, and Cameron feels himself getting sweaty under his shirt already. Some coyote he was.
It's so hot here.
Once we set ourselves up in the motel, we'll have some shade.
It's still open?
Nothing's open. Everything's abandoned now.
We're gonna get arrested for trespassing.
The bear finally turns off the camera, leaning over to shove it in his bag. Cops never come down here. It's too out of the way.
Anything for views, right?
Hey, my subscribers are gonna love this shit. Now, come on. Let's get back to the car. The bear turns and starts scrambling up the rocky boulders, Cameron waiting as he does. That's when the coyote turns around to glance back at the lake one last time, and a lizard lays in the shallows, splayed out, staring at the sky. But he's not staring because his eyes are gone. Half of his muzzle missing. Fuck!
That's
Go
me.
for it, Cameron.
Fuck!
Cameron jumps back, tipping over the rocks and landing hard against the sharp edges. The coyote hisses in pain, but fear spurns him on, trying to scramble up the rocks after Devon. The bear already turned around, though, reaching down and pulls Cameron up. Shit, you alright? What happened? What happened?
What happened? What happened? What happened? Okay.
As Cameron clings to the large bear, he looks back, but nothing's there.
I don't know. I saw.
Devon looks in the same direction, squinting. Cameron stares a while longer, then turns back and shakes his head against Devon's chest. When Cameron looks up at the bear, he's grinning, though. Holy shit. Did you see a ghost? Coyote scowls.
What? No. I just thought I saw something. It was reflections in the water or something.
The bear gives him a knowing smile.
What?
You're gonna be a believer by the end of all of this. I know it. The grizzly hugs him tightly as Cameron frowns, still looking back at the shallows. It had been so real. But before he can really collect himself, Devon is pulling him along back to the car. Man.
The end. I think this is the only ending for TJ's route. I don't think there was an option. Was there?
Yeah, I don't think there's another option for TJ. This is it. This is probably one of the earlier ones that they did, but also at the same time, this route seems to be intended to
You like the final one.
really tell you what happened.
Yeah, it seems.
Does that make sense?
You think so? I think it kind of has like some finality to it and makes it seem more of like an end.
Yeah. So this might have been the last one that they did. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure at all. But what a hell of a story, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
What do you think of it so far? What do you think
Yeah,
of
I like
this?
it.
You like the story?
I actually like TJ's route.
Yeah, I like TJ's route too.
Yeah. I think Chase needs to here's the thing, Chase, he just needs to come to the understanding that him and TJ are never really going to get together.
Oh no, never. Because TJ, I think TJ has like maybe he's bi, but he's still so repressed that he's not going to allow himself to actually get with a guy. He's the kind of I think he's Mormon, that he will repress it and then date a woman, marry a woman, have kids, and then he'll just suppress all the homosexuality. And
Is TJ supposed to be Mormon?
I think he's supposed to be Mormon, yeah. It's either him or Sydney. I'm not sure. I know for sure that TJ is a Christian of some denomination, because he has that cross on. So
yeah, I'd have to. If I had to say anything, like TJ does remind me of like people who have been sent to conversion camps.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of those things. That could be one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, fuck the Mormon Church for lobbying so that they can run conversion camps.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, it's just disgusting.
Okay, our amazing patrons over the past 7 years. So this might be the last one.
I think it was like the last one.
Yeah.
Because it mostly because like that finality, and then also it just said it right there over the 7 years. So it's something they've been working on for a while. I think it was
Yeah.
either this one or Jenna's route was like the last route that they did and finally finished up with the actual Echo story and like this visual novel.
Yeah.
And then I think they did oh shoot, what's the next one? It's supposed to be like
Ad Astra?
no, not at well
Route 66 or whatever it is?
Route 65 I think they did in the middle of this. I think at Astra they started first or kind of in that same period.
Yeah, set up the greater universe.
Yeah, and there's like
But all right.
there is like another one. It is set also in Echo, but it's like the sequel, the direct sequel to Echo, because it takes
and it
place
has to
in
do
Echo.
with like it has to do with a
It has to do with
bunch of like ghost hunters, right?
yeah, and I think those two ghost hunters are Cameron and Devin, like the ones we just saw. So
That makes sense.
after we do Echo, that would be the next logical step, unless you want to do Route 65.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have
Lots of time.
however many. Let's see. There's 1, 2,
There's like
3 more.
yeah, because we did
We
Leo.
did Leo.
Now we just
Yeah, we
finished.
did Leo's, and we just finished TJ's. So yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, that is all the time I have right now. I need to go get ready for what's happening later tonight.
Yes.
I will see you guys later.
Yes. I'll see everyone next week. Thanks for joining us for TJ's Route.
Indeed.
As always, thank you for listening and or watching. And bye.
Bye, everyone.